What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of What Suits You. And today I have with me.
So, guys, Matthew Boles.
Yes, absolutely. So it's crazy though. We actually met like in B-Doc, and we were kind of talking about like some red pill concepts, if you will. And I was just like, you never know who knows the shit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So you can't just be like, you can't just give it all out. And motherfuckers be like, look, this guy's, you know what I'm saying?
What is that?
Yeah, this guy's weird, man. Get him out of here. You know what I'm saying? So it was kind of cool to like actually kind of talk to someone who knew like a lot about the knowledge and how shit is though. You know what I'm saying? So like with that, what does the red pill mean to you? Because like even in like the manosphere, right? There's different versions of it, and there's people that look at it differently and do different things with that knowledge. So like, how has that knowledge affected you, and like what does that mean to you?
Yeah, so I'm not someone who really like subscribes to a lot of labels. So other than being like a black male, like I really don't consider myself to be anything else, right? That goes for like religion, faith, whatever you want to call it. I've never been someone to be like, yeah, I am this. So the red pill is nothing more to me but just like a way of thinking.
Okay.
It's a way. It's kind of like a philosophy.
Okay.
And with all philosophies, right, you can like kind of pick out what works in your life and what doesn't.
Yeah.
Sometimes
to a detriment though.
To a detriment,
as
it can
well.
be.
Yeah, because you'll have some people that will pick out just the red pill parts that talk about like how to get laid.
Right, and not anything else.
And that's all they do. That's all they use.
Ignore all the self-improvement talk, right?
Right. Yeah.
So the red pill to me actually started with, I think my mental health journey. Yeah,
that's important, dude. Let's get into that. Yeah, because I have a story about that as well.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. We can talk about it. I can talk about this shit all day long.
Yeah, I got time, bro. Like I said, I'm not doing anything until like 7. Like, yeah. So I'm good, man. I got up early. I did that Murph challenge.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, and then now I'm just doing this today, and then I'm going up to Jeonju for a business meeting. So
right. Okay. Yeah.
Some horizontal cardio.
Right. I got you. Yeah.
So
business meeting. That's an awesome done, right?
And then yeah, man, I'm chilling today, man. Tomorrow's a little bit more structured, but today, man, I'm chilling. But yeah, let's get into that, man.
Yeah. So I think everyone's journey with whatever you want to call it, right? Red pill, purple pill, black pill, whatever. Any pill. Any type of like enlightenment starts off with what they learned as a kid. And I think that oftentimes we don't think about, damn, like my past really affected me too, and it gave me like a whole world view. So me growing up, right, like I kind of had the typical childhood from my mom, like you hold doors open for women, like you respect women, but to a point where you're almost putting them like on a pedestal, right? And to her credit, she didn't really do it, I believe, consciously. I think it was more of like a subconscious decision. My dad and my mom had like a lot of issues in the home. My dad was there oftentimes, was not there oftentimes. So their marriage was like tumultuous, like it was really bad. So I think from her perspective, she was trying to raise up a man who would treat, his future woman or daughter or wife or whatever whatever the case may be with enough respect that would be different from what she was experiencing.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's tough, man.
Yeah,
that's tough. And the reason why I say that's tough is, my mom did the same for me as well. Thankfully and luckily, really, my dad was around, so I wasn't like completely like distraught. But I remember this past March, I went home and I kind of presented some of these talking points that we're going to get into today to my family, just to kind of see like where exactly they stood on the spectrum with it. And my mom even admitted, she was like, yeah, if your dad wasn't here, you would have been completely ruined. And my mom tried to like put me on ADHD medication when I was a kid, and again, it's not malicious. Right. It's not like, oh, I'm going to ruin his life. My mom just loves me so much that she doesn't want anything to hurt me. Yep. You know what I mean? And the reason that is really dangerous is because there's going to come a time in life where there's going to be a world where she's no longer in it. Your parents are supposed to pass on before you do. So there's going to be a time where if you rely on something your entire life or someone your entire life and then they're no longer there, you don't know how to live without them.
Yeah, exactly.
And as we know, as men, you are judged based off of what you can create and what you can curate and bring to the world. if you haven't practiced those things, you haven't worked out your creation muscles.
You're right.
You're essentially
you're doomed.
Yeah, useless
Yeah.
as a man,
Yeah.
which is what my dad always kind of told me. My dad was always like, a man's got to work. If you don't work, you don't eat. Things of that. Like my dad gave me a lot of like red pillisms, quote unquote, before I really knew what it was. So I think for me, once I got past like my little heartbreak and shit that I was going through, it was easy to kind of accept the concepts because I had heard them before. Which goes into your point, like your past really does kind of play.
Yeah,
You know
really
what
does.
I'm saying? Like into like how you view things and how you look at things. So like, what does it mean to you now though? Like you kind of like laid like the foundation of like how you were raised.
Right.
But like, what does it mean to you now?
Yeah, so now I'm gonna say two things, right? So
Okay.
the first thing I'm gonna say is I don't feel like anybody, or at least in my case, right, I've not flushed out the entire philosophy of what red pill actually could mean or means to me. The parts I most buy into was like the self improvement,
Yep.
right? The dynamics between males and females, human nature. They talk a lot about human nature, specifically between men and women.
Yeah, intersexual dynamics and shit like
Right,
that.
things
Yeah.
like that. For me, it's been actually very interesting using seeing certain red pill concepts in my marriage because I am married, and seeing how like okay this is crazy like the dynamics between men and women
Yeah.
is nothing changes once you get married, right? Hopefully you marry the right person, but nothing in regards to what you want as a male and what she wants as a female really changes once you're in a marriage. If anything, it becomes a lot more like drastic. So if I had no concept of what the red pill was, like the marriage would be a lot more depressing than what it needed to be. Right?
Yeah.
So being able to navigate how to talk to my wife, being able to like navigate to how she understands how I should be respected, knowing like what she needs to feel loved.
Yeah.
Because if we're gonna be in this type of relationship, right, we can get more into that.
Yeah.
Too, yeah.
Obviously, like without getting too personal, but I 100% agree with you though, as well. Like I said, once I got past my heartbreak, it was easy for me to accept the red pill stuff. But even as I was learning it, I would go, "That's where I messed up in that situation." You know what I mean? Or I would go, "Oh, I said this. I should have said that." Or I got way too emotional when this happened. You know what I mean? And I even so to answer my own question, what it means to me now, it is crazy what a woman will do for a man that she truly respects. Truly respects.
Yeah.
That woman will do anything for you.
Yep.
You tell her to jump, and before you finish the sentence, she's trying to do how high. Yeah. I told this girl that I'm messing with now. I told her to make me a schedule of her day, for reasons, right?
Right.
She sent me a whole like I'll show you like a whole.
She got it broken down by the hour.
She had it broken down by the hour, what she was doing on certain days, what she wasn't doing on certain days. It was all broken down like a Pinterest list.
Yeah, that's nuts.
And even,
I wish y'all could see this like color coordinated and everything.
It has the weekly schedule. She even has notes on like the bottom parts. I want you to read this note, not out loud, but just so you can kind of understand the dynamics of me and this woman. Right. So
Hey, but she knows what she wants. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But like that's kind of like where I'm like, yo, like this stuff actually works, and that's just with women. You know what I'm saying? What really got me into it, so again, to answer my own question, what does it mean to me? What really got me into it was the self-improvement stuff. Because, I've always kind of been into, like, oh, you got to go to the gym.
Right.
You got to get some sleep. Like, that was always kind of the thing. But I think, like, the red pill kind of gave me not only reasons why it should happen, but reasons why it absolutely is a must. And I think when things in your mind change from like, oh, I should probably do this to I must do this, I think that transformation really sparks, maybe not motivation, but like, okay, I gotta get more discipline.
Yeah, it gives you the why.
Yeah.
I think like oftentimes as young men too, like we grow up and we're like, okay, cool, like I'm gonna sleep 4 hours and then hit the gym for like 2 hours and I'm gonna run a mile. You know what I'm saying? We have that energy to do that.
Yeah.
But there gets a point in time where you realize like, okay, why am I hurting? Like, why is my mental like this? Like, why am I so thirsty all the time? You know what I'm saying?
I'll even take it a step further, man. As the red pill as like my foundation, it really made me like want to start reading and like doing more. And when I was just talking to my dad, you know, I did the Murph challenge today. I got the best time of the group.
That's awesome.
And I'm only saying that because I had never done this before, and I was kind of like, man, like
it's a good challenge.
I was like, dude, I'm gonna be slow. Yeah. Like all these people are gonna beat me. Like just the negative self talk. But then I got to the point. I'm kind of working on it now. I'm at a point now to anytime I think a negative thought, I immediately flip into think two positive thoughts. Yeah. And it's crazy how important that is. It's crazy how much of self-improvement can't be seen to the naked eye. Yeah. You have to actually talk to somebody and get to know them and be like, you didn't used to do that. Mm-hmm. You didn't used to think that way. And I think that, for me at least, the red pill, you know, philosophy, if you will, kind of guided me along that path to say, hey, here's why you should self-improve on a societal level, but also here's why you should self-improve, again, for mental health reasons.
Yep. And I think that, to be fair, it's also up to that individual.
100%.
I think a lot of people can look at the red pill and because I've done it, can look at the red pill and be like, okay, well then what's the point, right? Like,
that's the black pill.
And it can turn into a black pill, right? Where you can kind of be like, okay, well, these are how like men and women interact. These are these, you know, dynamics. Oh, there's hypergamy, or there's this, that, and the third. I'll never be that. You know what I'm saying? Or I've been busting my ass so long I can't get to that level, so what's the point, right? And I think that's where a lot of people have to kind of take a second and like look at the red pill for what it is. And I think that question is super important. Like, what does it mean to you? Like how are you gonna take that knowledge and make it better for you? Yeah.
I'll even, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I'll even say like knowing black pill stuff though is also important because I think when you learn the absolute like dark side of it, if you will, hence why it's the black pill, I think that puts things in a better perspective. And what I mean by that is you have something to run away from. Because I could see, like, we're both good looking dudes, right? I could see if we had like never like had touched a woman before, then the black pill would be easy to just be like, okay, this is why.
So it fits your experiences.
Exactly. But I think like, dude, when I was in England, man, bro, vertical cardio. I mean horizontal cardio all day. You know what I'm saying? Like it was ridiculous. So and even with that, even with my dealings with women, you kind of know red pill. You just don't know what it is. Yeah. It's like a gut feeling. You're like, she's gaining weight, but you don't know how to say. You know what I'm saying? You're like,
how do I frame this?
Yeah, you're like, how do I do this? And a lot of the times it'll be like, how do I do this so I don't get in trouble? But I think with the red pill, it kind of flips that narrative and it gives you frame and it tells you like, you know, you're the guy that has so much to lose in this relationship, like a marriage. So that means that if it's your responsibility to lose, that means that you have the authority to set the parameters for the relationship. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And I also think, like, the deeper you go into red pill stuff, the more shit starts to A, scare you, and B, make a lot more sense as to why things are happening. Yeah. Especially if you start going into, like, the political side, which, if we get into it, it'll be offline. Like, I wouldn't post that. But, like, the more you get into it, it's like, okay.
Yeah, I'll have to look that stuff up.
Like,
that would be new.
Let's say Rollo Tomasi is really good about it. Once we're done here, I'll show you that podcast I was talking about on Fresh and Fit where they did like the Avengers Assemble. Really golden information in that podcast. Okay. Super dope, man. Super good. But I also think like with the red pill is you have to kind of choose who you listen to. You know what I mean?
I was gonna bring that up.
Because every red pillar isn't the same. You know, you have people like Steph is Cold, who was like, I'd say he's more of like a good for younger guys, you know, for like motivation and stuff like that. I would say someone like Rich Cooper is good on like the business end of things, but also like, hey, this is why you wouldn't, you know, date a single mom, stuff like that. And then I think like people like, you know, Fresh and Fit is kind of like entertainment.
Yeah.
Only if you watch like the After Hour show. If you watch like the Money Mondays, it's really good stuff in the Money Mondays episode.
And I think you also gotta like look at their environment. Like they're dealing with women in Miami. So, you know, like they're gonna have a totally different. like a dude who's growing up in like a small town in like Arkansas isn't gonna have the same access to like the type of women that Fresh and Fit is dealing with. So like it's gonna be a little bit different. But yeah, overall, like I think they all have different parts of the same issue that you can kind of like take from and grow
No,
from.
I 100% agree. I wanna touch on that as well. I remember one time, man, a while back, I switched my Tinder out to Miami just to see like how bad it was. Bro, some of them bios, dog.
What was it?
Mind blowing. One chick was like a thick 6, we'll say, and she was like super like to get my attention. I don't have time to go through all the options,
which is wild, right?
Instagram and bio, and I'm just like, bro, you know her DMs are crazy.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
Like like, because there's no normal person that talks like that. Like when I talk to women, I say very large, grandiose things. But then not always, sometimes I just leave it out there and let them deal with it. But like if a chick is like, what are you up to? I'd be like, just taking over the world one day at a time. I mean, after all, I am good at everything. And I'll just leave it at that. And now she's like, this motherfucker is crazy. You know what I'm saying? Right. But if I'm hanging out with her and I'm up at 5 a.m. doing push-ups and I'm drinking water and I eat good, she's going to see that and be like, okay, maybe
there's some merit to what he's
saying. Yeah, she's like, maybe he is good at a lot of, you know what I'm saying? And that's kind of like the buy-in. But I think that when you have certain people that are spreading the wrong message of the red pill, I think that's where it gets kind of off track. But
what do you mean by that? By like the wrong message?
The wrong message being like, okay, this is how you get laid. That's it.
Okay.
It's very one-dimensional and it's very based. And the reason why, or not based, it's very lackluster. It doesn't have depth. It's very shallow. Yeah. And the reason why I think that is the wrong message is because like, dude, like every dude wants pussy. You know what I'm saying? Like we all want box. But the thing about it is when you start applying game just to get box,
your priorities are way out of whack.
That becomes the thing that rules you, and that's no different than a simp. Simps are ruled by the idea of getting some. Whereas if you are a quote unquote red pill dude that's like, oh, if she texts back in 10 minutes, you have to like wait an hour. It's like, or
you gotta stopwatch though.
right. Or just actually build a life that's busy to where you can't always be on your phone.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? And I think that is kind of the way to go about it. I mean, even with myself, like when I'm in dispatch, I'm chilling for like 2 hours. I have an app where it'll block apps on my phone for a certain time. Because I know that I'm not at a place to where like, okay, if my number 1 or number 2 prospect hits me up, I'm going to be tempted to want to message back immediately. And, or even times I'll like do it, and then I'll have to like, okay, I got to focus on this. And then I'll finish that. Sometime I'll go by, I'll eat, and then I'll be like, oh, I'll get back to her. Yeah. But there's other times where I'm like, I want to, because you feel it. You know what I'm saying? You feel that like, that anxiousness kind of build up. You're like, what if she unmatches, or I know other dudes. But I know with that, it's like, you got to fight that though.
Yeah.
You have to A, be aware of it, and then B, you have to conquer it. So sometimes I'll leave the apps on my phone and I'll just be locked in and busy. But when it starts to drag me back into like the realm of like sedation and just mindlessly swiping, before I'll nix it. I'll take it off my phone or I'll have it blocked. But anytime I like open an app, I'll think, okay, what is the purpose of me being on this app?
And it's honestly like mind blowing to me to think about certain people who, like you said, right, they put so much emphasis on like, okay, if I apply these specific tools, I'll finally get laid. Like that's the pinnacle of your life. Like that's what you live for.
Yeah.
It is sad, but I think people also lose somewhat of like an understanding of these guys that you're watching, right? Like Steph Cole, Jordan Peterson, right? Poor Man's Podcast.
Poor Man's Podcast is really good. I really like Jordan Peterson. He's actually not really a red pill guy.
No, he's not.
He's just
beating treats.
Yeah, he even said himself like he leans more on the liberal side when it comes to politics and things of that nature. And I think that he's a good example because the dude is ridiculously smart. Like you can't challenge him mentally. Yeah. Like who knows more about what he knows? You know what I'm saying? But the way that he breaks things down, it's like we're having all this talk about equality, but one side is showing up to the fight with tanks and bazookas, and we got hockey gear and butter knives. Yep. And then it's like, you see, they got knives, and it's like, what?
That mask?
You're talking about me? It's like, no. And it's like, we're not gonna bring that up, you know. And I think that's what really kind of gets me a little bit annoyed with the whole like structure of things. Like you can go on a date with a girl, and she has no problem like fucking you out of your time.
Right.
And here it's even more difficult if you don't have a car, because you have to pay for a cab, you have to pay for a train, you have to pay for another cab. If you're staying the night, you have to pay for a hotel.
Yep.
And then you have to do that whole process minus the hotel in reverse to get back home, just for her to be like, oh, I think we should just be friends. Or or not even that, or just like, oh yeah, the vibe wasn't right. Yeah. It's like, you knew from jump you didn't like me.
Right.
Why would you
waste this time?
But why would you put somebody through this? Oh, you're just mad because, and now I'm just mad, and now
right.
She goes her whole life until she hits the wall, and then she's like, something's weird. I'm not getting as many likes as you know what I'm saying? And it doesn't work out for women in that way either, you know, and it really is sad. And I think that's why Kevin Samuels was so important. You see, I just segued that.
I was waiting for that.
Yeah. I'm cold. I'm good. What can I say? And I think that's why Kevin Samuels was so important, is because he kind of shined a light on that.
Yeah, he did.
With his questionings and, you know, his work and stuff that he did. So going into that, like, how do you think, not so much how did his death affect you, but how do you think his passing is going to affect the manosphere and red pill content as people move forward? Do you think that there's going to try to be like another person that does what he did and just be like, oh, he's not dead? Or how do you kind of think that that's going to shift things, if at all?
Yeah, so I think it could have two effects. I think there could be like a second savior, right? Someone who tries to like rise up and take on his mantle, which I don't think is the appropriate response, right? I think by and large, the appropriate response should be for everyone to like continue to grind and just do what they do best, right? There's plenty of people within the quote unquote manosphere that are already having a significant impact on young men's lives, and what they're doing is perfectly fine, right? I think that his work, Kevin Samuel's work, shouldn't be, which is, people are trying to do that now, to discredit him based off of like many like allegations and many things like, oh, the dude was actually gay, you know, like
that was crazy. But again though, you know, it takes a special kind of individual to use your life as an example to what people will do to you when they don't like you. You know, like he dealt with all those allegations with such poise and class. It was like, you couldn't really, it's almost like going at Jordan Peterson. It's like, really?
Yeah, you have to respect it.
You know what I'm saying?
And I think that like, there's like, I don't agree 100% with him, but a lot of the things that he did was, the way he handled himself and the way that he handled these interviews was respectable.
Very, very good. Very good. Was always articulate. I would say the like a lot of the things that he said, I didn't agree with how he said it, but I couldn't argue it.
No, for sure.
And if I can't argue something, that means that you agree. That not arguing, being unable to argue a point and agreeing with it is fundamentally the same. Unless you just don't know about the topic. If it's like rocket science, I'm like, dude, I don't know enough. But if it's coming from a point of like, okay, let's talk about relationships between men and women. Women know about the relationships that they have with men, and men know about the relationships they have with women. So people go into it with enough knowledge to be like, like at the end of it, a lot of the times some of the women would be like, I don't like what you said, but I can't disagree with it. And I'm just like, so you agree with it? You just don't like how it's sitting.
It's fair. That's a fair point.
Because it's true. Like the first time you found out Santa Claus wasn't real, I wasn't happy about it. You know what I'm saying? I was like, you don't need to tell me. Was said. You know what I mean? I was making cookies for y'all, and y'all were eating them without me. Like it was rough. You know what I'm saying? It was a tough thing to take. But I think though, it was super important. Not only that, he did the same thing for men for years.
I was gonna bring that up,
and nobody gave a damn. And I think that just goes to show that there's already an inequality. You know what I'm saying? But I think with him though, it was good that he stepped up and kind of filled that void in the market, because people would be like reacting to videos or like doing cold approach, but for him to have a show real time where people would like live try to debunk what he believed, and he would just, you know what I'm saying?
He would chop him down. I mean, like a lot of times, like people would call in for actual help, and he would give them actual help and concepts.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like,
and I think
people
that was
don't
missed
talk about that.
Yeah, that was missed a lot because that was my first introduction to him, right? Is because I think he was an image consultant, right?
Yep.
So he just gave people hard truths, like, hey, you need to drop 10 pounds. Hey, your BMI is too high. You know, whatever. Which nobody wants to hear that. Like nobody wants to hear, yeah, dude, like you're obese technically based off this definition, but he gave him the truth. Yeah. And if you want to get a certain type of male or female or reach a certain social status, you got to work on yourself, which is what he did. But not everyone likes to hear those things.
I agree that not everybody likes to hear those things, but I think that the world is a better place when everybody works on themselves. I mean, imagine if Jordan Peterson just stayed in Alberta and just drank alcohol.
Right.
We would have no, maps of meaning or 12 rules for life. Like there wouldn't be any of that. And that's another reason why I like Jordan Peterson so much, is because he talks about, picking up the heaviest or bearing the heaviest cross that you can and moving forward with it. And I think that that's absolutely true. I guess a personification of that is David Goggins. If you look at everything that he's done in his life, coming from a broken home, not being able to swim, having learning disabilities, racism, all this stuff. Now the guy's a Navy SEAL. Pretty sure he did like Ranger School or some other stuff. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it's like if that guy can come from those circumstances and still not only become like a good man, like 6-figure type of dude, like a great example of what a man is, then there's no excuse for someone like me, comes from a 2-parent household. I'm not overweight, good head on my shoulders. Like, you're not doing enough.
And that brings me back to where I think everyone that's everyone's introduction to the red pill.
Yeah.
Right. They look back at their life and they see someone that they emulate. They're like, hey, how do I get to that person? Like how can I be just like him?
For me, it was Steph is Cold.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I was like, dude, he's younger than me.
Yeah.
Like, that was the whole thing. I was like, he's younger than me and he's doing better than me in life.
Yeah.
And he came from a broken home. Yeah. No disrespect to you, Steph, if you ever see this, which I highly doubt. Right. But it was like, bro, if he can do it and he's making all this money, he's driving this car, there's no way that I can't. I'm just not doing enough. Exactly. And then that led down, to the motivational aspect of things. You know what I mean? I also think, though, as well, in the military, it's very easy to get lazy, though.
Extremely.
And nobody talks about it.
It's honestly the all right, yeah. So we had a conversation earlier, right, where I told you, hey, like I started school.
Yeah.
I unenrolled from that college 3 times. So
why?
Laziness.
Okay.
So I started that program back in, I guess when COVID first started. So what was that, like end of 2019?
Yeah, early
so.
2020 is when it really, 2020. Yeah, like January it was like, oh, COVID's whatever. February was like, yeah. And then like by March of 2020 it was like, don't even look outside. People take your eyes.
People were bad. So, the program is like a 2-year program. Okay. Not even actually. I think it's like a 1.5-year program.
Okay.
We're in 2022 and I'm halfway through it. Right. And what got me was the complacency of just going to work every day. Right, sitting in BDoc, dispatching people to stuff, right, just living like day to day that mundane life and not having the passion to do anything else. And I attribute that a lot to.
Yeah, I feel that, man.
To just at some point looking at my peers and being like, damn, we make the same amount of money and he does way less work. Like, damn, like I'm over here busting my ass to get a 5 on my EPR. Or 4 on my EPR, and I still got a test, just like this guy.
Yeah. We'll get more into that offline because I want to say some things.
Okay.
And I'm going to say some things.
Yeah,
but I don't want other people to hear them or.
For sure. And
I agree with you.
I think that like hard work definitely still matters. Actually, my whole mindset changed once I got here, and I met like a few key people in leadership, and I was like, okay, cool. Like one of my sergeants is like, he was. Top 12 in the Air Force, right?
Nice.
So
I don't know what that means, but it sounds good.
yeah, just top 12, top 5, top 5, top 5.
Hey.
So just seeing like that, like him and how he moves and the effort that he put in, and him being like a young black male also was like, okay, so hard work does pay off. But before I met him, and not to like blast anybody at all, but like there are just so many people that you see coasting through their careers. Yeah. And that's not just the military; that's everywhere. But like specifically the military, coasting and making.
I think it's worse in the military though, because at the end of the day, we are still expected to fight and die for our country. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And when you have, and I've been guilty of this too. Some days I still am. When you have people that are in the habit of being lazy, that is not the person that you want to take into war with you
at all.
You know what I mean? If this guy, can't even, or girl, whatever. I'm gonna say guy because men mainly die in fucking wars. Like, let's be real. Right. If this guy can't even get to PT on time, how can I expect him to shoot our enemies and cover me? No. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? You can't even do the mundane things. Right. How can I expect you to do the big things? Like hold this line, hold this fort. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's why like basic training is so beautiful. And I'm not saying I wish every day was like basic training. But man, going to bed at 9, waking up at 6.
Oh, great.
That's what? 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's 9 hours. Mm-hmm. And you were actually asleep.
Yeah.
Unless you had to do like, EC duty, which was gay, but
yeah, she was whack.
Bruh. But you would be slumped.
Yeah.
Gone, sleep, 9 hours. You're eating 3 square meals a day. You gotta drink at least, 3 canteens or not to exceed whatever. Nah, me either. But you're doing more. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And that's why people they go to basic and they're like, man, I lost weight. Like, I feel good. And then what happens? They get they get this back, right? They get these phones back. They get around ice cream and choice and options and. I call them different flavors of sedation because that's really all it is. Yeah. Like if you I try to stay locked in and focus all the time.
Yeah.
And at first it was so difficult. I would physically get hot. Like I'd be like, dude, I can't. Like, what is going on? Yeah. Like I cannot focus.
That's wild.
And I think the reason was because I had Facebook, had Instagram, iFunny, Tinder, Bumble. That's just on my phone, my computer, got emails. I got this person calling me from Messenger. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? There's all these things that are taking your attention and they're pulling it in all these directions. You haven't worked your focus muscles. Yeah. It's like if someone has never done a barbell squat a day in their life, they're like, throw 315 on the bar. Right. You'd be like, Cletus, chill. Yeah. Cletus, no, Cletus! Like, and Cletus would die on the floor. And then you'd have to sweep him up and throw him in the dumpster. Cletus is dead.
He's gone.
That's exactly how it works, I think, with a lot of the stuff that goes on in the military. Sometimes, dude, being out here can either be a blessing or a curse. But it goes back to your previous point. It's up to the individual.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Because out here, it's not like the base up north. It's not like Osan or Humphreys. We are very limited. Very limited here. Amazon takes 2 weeks. We are extremely
struggling.
This is a struggle bus here, right? But you go back to the States, I ordered something at 9 a.m. By 9 p.m. it was at my door. Yeah. You go and you drive to 5 miles down the street, Pizza Hut, Jimmy John's.
I was gonna say, the food options are insane.
It's like, who would ever need this?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree.
Everybody's jogging or driving. Nobody's up jogging. You might see 6 or 7 people at the gym, but you see 300-400 people waiting out line for this restaurant. Right. Mainly heavy set people, fat people, and it's like something's off. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like, why is it that we do this thing so easily and plush? We want the comforts, but it's like we're suffocating ourselves with the softness of the pillow.
Yeah, absolutely.
And people sometimes don't even. They just like, I don't know why I'm out of breath. Why does my back hurt? It's like, when's the last time you did a push-up? Right. Oh, you can't say that. It's like, what?
Right,
What
exactly.
do you mean? I can't, like...
I think Jordan Peterson said it best. Well, he was talking specifically about men, but he was saying that, like, young men desire and need discipline. Like, they crave responsibility.
Yeah.
And that's so true. And I think that's somewhat of what's lacking in the military. Like, I think a lot of times we just say yes sir, yes ma'am, and we do the job, but we're not given a lot of like responsibilities.
Yeah.
And so a lot of young men who are coming up in the military just keep being like yes men. Like they just do what they're told, but they don't know how to like have a podcast, right? Like they don't know how to make their own food. They don't know how to like create a workout program.
They know what to think, but they don't know how to think.
Exactly.
And I gotta word this properly, but I think that when you're running an organization, you need to have people that know what to think.
Oh, for sure.
You have to, because if nobody knows what to think, it just takes the bravest idiot to go, we should think this, and then everyone goes, maybe we should, and now that's your new normal, whether that's good, bad, or indifferent, whatever. But you do need to have that level of like, this is the standard, this is what we do, da-da-da-da-da, right, etc. But, big butt, like big black girl butt,
Right.
when it comes to how to think, I'm an idiot with this. When it comes to how to think, I think that is equally as important. And I think maybe in other career fields, it's different. But I know in our career,
talk about that too.
And I know in our career field, it's very, this is what you're supposed to do.
Right.
And even if you do the job right, and you come back with questions, they're still like, why are you asking questions?
Yeah.
And it's like, because I want to know why we do this.
Right.
That was stupid. We were out there for 30 minutes. That's a 10-minute job.
Yeah.
Why are we wasting man hours on this? Now you're insubordinate. Now you're rude or disrespectful. Even if it doesn't generate as paperwork, people are going to take that as like, well, I didn't ask those questions when I was in his place. What gives him the right? And now it's like, dude, I'm not trying to disrespect you. I want to make this job better.
Yes.
And the only way to do that is to ask questions.
Exactly.
Like, how else am I supposed to get better? And it's not everybody.
It's not everybody. And I think that's actually another aspect of the red pill, right? It's being able to look at someone else and being like, okay, he or she, well, he in this concept, or she, is
he
is better than me, right?
Yeah.
Instead of being like, I now hate everything about you because you're better than me.
Right.
It's more like, hey, how do I get to that point? Because truth be told, I have airmen right now who are better than me in certain things. That's just how life is. I'm not the greatest at everything.
Right.
And so
I am though.
And so instead of being like, hey, let me be insecure in the fact that he knows more than me about this specific topic, let me learn from him, right? Let me teach him some things, and together we create innovation. And I think people who don't understand that aspect of the red pill, it's not all about just getting better, so now you can't be told nothing. No, it's about you grow, you bring people up with you, you learn from other people, you share knowledge.
Yeah.
If you look at millionaires, right, they share information. People who aren't millionaires don't, because they're trying to grind so hard to get there, but they're afraid to share information. They're afraid to learn from other people.
I 100% agree with that. It also goes into another thing that Jordan Peterson says, like how there's multiple hierarchies. And I think with there being such multiple hierarchies, you're never going to be the best at everything.
Right.
Because it's physically impossible.
Right.
Like, you could be the best at a bunch of things. You know, you could be a military, a firefighter, podcaster, all-around amazing dude like myself. But it doesn't mean that I know how to fly an aircraft or a rocket ship. That's not... I have no idea.
Exactly.
It's like, if you're... Like, another aspect I've kind of heard to, like, debate the whole alpha and beta male thing is, are you a beta male if you're on an aircraft and another male pilot is driving it?
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
It's like, okay, sure. Like,
right, that's going way too far.
But I'm on my way to Ibiza. So where do you
You're
do?
flying me, so are you the beta or am I the alpha?
Right. So and it what the argument is like, there's so many different hierarchies. There's so many different ways that people are great. They're not gonna have one person that is absolutely good at everything.
Right.
Because new things are constantly being invented. New ways to have a podcast or programming or to fight fires, do police work. It's ridiculous how many new things are constantly evolving. There's no one person that can be, it's like, look at what crypto was 5 years ago.
Yeah.
It wasn't what it is now.
At all. Yeah,
but, you know, the people that bought in early, they're obviously higher up on the hierarchy, and people that are just now learning about it are lower. And I think that that's okay. You know, I don't think that that's an issue. And kind of going off topic here, another thing that is kind of on topic that I've kind of noticed or seen is when people talk about equality, they're talking about equality of outcomes, not equality of opportunity. And I think that when you talk about equality of outcomes, that is the most un-American thing that you can do.
Yeah, for sure.
And the reason why I say that it's the most un-American thing that you can do is because you have to encroach on people's freedoms in order for everybody to have the same outcome. Example, we both have the freedom to do whatever we want on our days off, pretty within reason, right? You can't start doing drugs and shit. But let's say you get up at 5 a.m., you go on a jog, you hit the gym, you intermittent fast until noon, you eat, you're feeling good, but I don't get up until noon, and let's say that happens over the course of a year. Yeah. And now they go, okay, you know, what's your BMI? What's my BMI compared to yours? And they're like, well, this guy has a way lower BMI and has more lung capacity and able to do more. Grip strength is better. You know, muscular skeletal structures are more formed, and this guy doesn't. And then I go, well, that's not fair. We should both have the same. And they go, okay, that's right. You're now banned from working out. You now have to sleep.
You now have to be fat.
Yeah. And it's like, how do you, or let's flip it. They go, okay, you now have to get up and work out and do all these things. And that person just genuinely doesn't want to do that. You have to take away people's freedom to choose in order to have equality of outcomes.
Right.
And when you have, like I said, it's the most un-American thing to do. People have fought, died, continue to fight and die over our freedoms that it seems like a lot of people now are trying to take away for the sake of equality. And it's really not equality because there's going to be people that get to say who gets to do what, and then those are going to be the people in charge. Right. But I find it sad and hilarious that is what happens.
Yeah.
You know?
I think people just want their cake and, you know, and eat it too. Like, they want, obviously, equality of outcome, and they want freedom of choice, which is
wild.
Like you said, which is, they go two completely different paths. But to the average person, you know, in their mind, they're like, well, why can't I just do whatever I want, live however I want, and have the same things, the same values, the same, I guess, like, opportunities, or not even opportunities, but it's the same outcomes as somebody else. Yeah. Because people don't want to put in the work.
That's about to say that you want to put third place work in and still win, or even worse, you want to put 10th place work in and still win a gold medal.
Yep, and that's like very applicable to myself, because there were like so many times where I would sit and watch Steph is Cold, or like Austin Dunham was like one of the first guys I ever watched.
It's crazy, man. He's like from close where I'm from.
Is he really?
Dude, he went to college in Savannah.
And his
it's like 3 hours from where I grew up.
That's wild. Yeah, his trajectory through YouTube is very, very, very inspiring. Because like he keeps up some of his old videos of when he was, you know, like clean shaven, and you know, was still dating the girl that he was dating, and he still keeps those videos up. You can kind of see like, okay, this is how he develops. But what I was saying was like seeing guys like that, right?
Shout out Austin though.
Yeah, great guy. I don't know him. I'm assuming. I don't
know. He seems cool though. Like he doesn't seem like a dick. You know, like if you were like, yo, I'm a fan, he wouldn't be like, oh, peasant. Right. He'd be like, yo, you know what I'm saying? Like he seems like he'd be cool. Yeah.
But I used to watch those guys, right? And like, okay, cool, cool video. Let me go watch some porn. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like watch those guys. Okay, cool. Let me go to Pizza Hut. Yeah. Not applying any of the things that they were saying, and a lot of guys who quote unquote take this red pill, like you said, just watch these videos to try to get laid and like try to get pussy and don't like level up. And that's that equality of outcome. They want the same thing that Austin Dunham and Steph is Cold have, but they're not putting in any of like the fucking work.
That's a very good point. I'll take that a step further. I'll say that again, it all is up to the individual. But I think that it has to come a time where you're tired of not getting what you want.
Right.
And you have to not tired like, man, this sucks, but like tired, like that is all you think about.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, dude, like for me right now, it's like, okay, I've tested for staff. I need to make more money. I need to make more money.
Yeah.
I have to.
Yep.
It is a must, to the point where I'll be on a date with a girl completely just like, ooh, because I'm just thinking like, how can I make some more money?
Yep.
Like, what is it that I'm good at? What can I do? How can I market that? I don't know how to market. I need to learn marketing. Can I learn it for free? Like, you know what I'm saying? There's layers to it. And then it's like, once you tell yourself, okay, I have a plan, you then have to tell yourself, like, I'm worth this.
Right.
I can do this. I deserve this. I've seen people, kind of goes back to what we were saying earlier, people that have coasted through life that have more than me, and I'm sick of it.
Yeah.
I'm fucking tired of it.
Right.
And then when that starts to happen, life has a way of unfolding to you.
It really does.
When you start putting in the work. I was just telling my dad, man, like, I don't exactly know when it happened or why it happened, but literally lately I've just been on like super confident, even in the face of like uncertainty. I just go, nope, I'm not feeling that. I'm 100% confident. We had a firefighter challenge at the firehouse, I think like last week.
Oh, that's awesome.
And they had me do like the little hammer sled thing. Never did it before. Yeah. They're like, Pink, are you sure you don't want to try? I was like, why do I need to try? We've already won. We ended up losing, but it wasn't because of me. But they beat us by a couple of seconds. It was like we had like 5:27, they had like 5:16.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? But going into it, I wanted to feel like I felt that feeling of nervousness bubble up. I just casted it out. I was like, nope. I refuse to feel like that. If I go and I talk to a girl, I used to be like, well, what if she says no? That literally the rejection now, it's like, okay.
Yeah.
And I used to always say that without actually knowing what that is like. What that is like is you see a girl with two of her guy friends,
right,
and you still hit on her.
Yeah.
In front of those two. And if she rejects you, you go, okay.
Yeah. And
then you leave. Or what that looks like is like really like when you break rejection down, it doesn't really do anything to you.
Absolutely not.
Especially if it doesn't do anything to you if you already have positive self-talk.
Yeah.
If you already have the mindset, I have an affirmation right now on my window. It says, I'm the greatest man to ever live. I'm 26. I haven't even lived that long. Right. And I'm like, I'm the greatest man to ever live. I don't fold under pressure. I am a king. I am great. I will touch greatness. When that is all I tell myself, and a girl is like, you don't know. It's like, all right.
Yeah.
Cool. You know what I'm saying? But you have to condition that. But when you tell yourself negative things and the negativity comes, it's like, oh, I knew it. I knew I was, because I'm not 6 feet.
Exactly.
And that's what a lot of the black pillars go into is they haven't had positive reinforcement for something positive.
I mean, just scroll through Instagram, like the amount of
I deleted Instagram.
Well, I don't have it anymore, but like for those of you who do, like you scroll through it, right, and you
all
see
9 of my subscribers.
Constant just men are trash, right? Men are weak. We don't need men. Nothing. There's nothing wrong with a confident woman, right? I think men need women and women need men.
Facts, I agree with that.
But there is a problem with men or women bashing, right? And when all he sees is like male bashing, and all he sees is like, yeah, men ain't shit. You know what I'm saying? When they get rejected by a woman, then they're gonna automatically think, well, you're right, I'm not shit. Which I think, to your point, like writing things out and like seeing things every day and seeing the fruits of your labor is big.
Yeah. I was about to say, you couple all of what I just said in with doing things that you don't like to do, hard, difficult things.
Yeah.
I'm like, for me, I was reading David Goggins' book. I don't remember what chapter it was, but it was like every day do something you hate.
Yeah.
I was like, I know 2 things I hate: cold showers and running.
Right.
I've been running and taking cold showers since I read that chapter, and that was back in April.
Oh, wow.
Life is improved dramatically.
That's awesome.
I still hate cold showers.
Yeah.
When that first hits,
They're
I'm
the
like,
worst.
But now it's almost like I remember the other day, man. I had the water as cold as it could be, and it felt warm.
Really?
Because I've been doing it so long now, and I'm like, okay, and I'll get it like all the way up to like the back of my head to where you really feel it in like your brain. You know what I mean? Like you're in this. Like I'm not like
you're in there.
I'm in there. You know what I'm saying?
Shout out to you because I've been trying to conquer cold showers.
Bro, I'm telling you. It sucks at first.
Mm-hmm.
It was terrible. I was like, why am I doing this?
Yeah.
What is the point? But I'll tell you this. Read David Goggins' book.
Mm-hmm.
It'll change your life, bro.
Okay.
Changed my... And I was already kind of there, and you're already kind of there as well. I was already kind of like, all right, some things need to change. Is this how it is? I need to get better. I was already kind of sowing those seeds. Mm-hmm. But for me, that book was the sunlight and the water.
Okay.
That those seeds needed to grow. And, and obviously, the soil being like my family and how you were raised and stuff like that. But that book, man, David Goggins, Can't Hurt Me, the best book I've ever read.
Okay.
And it breaks down his life, and it breaks down how he decided to cope with the trauma. And I think that is what is so important, is because life is going to punch everybody in the mouth. Mm-hmm. Maybe not equally, maybe not fairly.
Right.
Some people might get Mike Tyson.
Right.
Others get Kimbo Slice. Who knows what you're going to get. Yeah. But you're getting hit. You know what I'm saying?
Point, yeah.
You're getting punched in the face. What are you going to do about it? And I think that's why, like, what do you plan to do with this knowledge is an important question. Mm-hmm. Because, okay, you got hit. Everyone gets hit. You're not special for getting hit.
Right.
What do you do now?
Exactly.
Rich Cooper wrote a book. Jordan Peterson became an internet sensation. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? I started a podcast.
Yeah.
What are you going to do now that she told you you're not good enough and broke up with you for someone else? Mm-hmm. What are you going to do now? Because you couldn't make her stay. You can't. If she wants to leave, she'll leave. Just like the chick, the schedule I showed you. She wanted to put that much effort in. I asked for something very simple, and she put loads of effort in to make it look good, simply because she wanted to. Yep. You can't control what other people do. You can have influence, sure, them, but you can't completely control it. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? If a fire alarm went off right now, I hope it doesn't, because I would ruin the episode. I could choose not to leave. Yeah, I could stay right in the room and go, nah, I'm not doing. Nope. Mm-mm. You can't make people do anything. So once you realize you can't make people do anything, the only person you have control over is yourself. You then realize that's really all I need. Mm-hmm. Because if life, I like to say, life doesn't happen to me. Life happens for me. Mm-hmm. So anytime something wrong or bad happens, I do air quotes because it can all be broken down. I go, what is this trying to show me? And I've gone to the point where me and my mom and my dad, we have talks. I asked my dad straight up. I was like, hey, Dad, when you pass, what do you want me to do? He's like, live. To him, it's like...
Wait, what kind of question?
Yeah, he's like, keep living. That's why, like, dude, do your thing. I was like, yeah, but, I live my whole life with you, not have my life without you. I don't know what to do. He's like, that is the natural order of things. I want you to live because I will always live with you. I damn near broke down. I was like, man,
that's powerful.
I was like, that's tough.
Yeah, that's powerful.
And I asked my mom as well, and she said the same thing. She was like, live. Yeah. You are going to have your own life, your own family, kids, whatever. Live. Keep living. Don't allow our passing to be the death of you as well. Exactly. That's not the point of this. Right. And when they broke it down to me like that, I was like, wow, man, that's really powerful. So then I started thinking, okay, when that happens, what is some silver lining to that, right? Because I wanted to check my own philosophy. Mm-hmm. So I thought of the worst thing that could happen. Worst thing that can happen is going to be my parents passing. Right. You know what I mean? I thought that at the time of thinking that, and I also think that now, still. So I was running my philosophy through this checklist. Okay, my parents passed away. And I ran into like different scenarios. I don't want to speak those into existence though, but like with different scenarios on how they passed, right, etc., etc. And I was like, what would be the silver lining of that? And the silver lining is this: the memories that we have are now much more valuable because you can never make new ones. Whereas now, both my parents are alive and well. Hi, Mom. Hi, Dad. They're doing good. I just got off the phone with my dad today. Told him about the Murph challenge, etc. Told me and my mom had an argument, whatever. You know what I'm saying? But that's a memory now because it happened. Once they pass, all those memories now move up in rank as far as how valuable they are.
Yeah.
Because it's like, dude, oh, I remember this time, man. Oh, I remember this other time.
Yeah.
So once I found that out, I was like, dude, that theory's bulletproof. Things happen for you, not to you.
And it's super important with that, if I could.
Yeah, 100%.
That's why you live life with like so much intention. Is because you don't want to just have memories that are full of nothing, right? Like I know like plenty of people, right, who lose their sibling, their father, their mother, their spouse, their kid, whatever, and they're paralyzed. Like they can just no longer live life. Yeah. And the reason is because there was something that they didn't get to do with that person. Yeah. They're haunted for the rest of their life. Yeah. Because they made bad memories, and that's why like using myself, the example of like watching stuff is cold and then like jacking off, right? Like I'm wasting time, I'm wasting knowledge, I'm wasting memories, right? I could be building memories of like conquering certain things in life based off of like what I learned and like living with intention. But instead,
I'll give you some pushback on that though, because I think that you have to go through that process in order to go, okay, this ain't it.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
With that. Yeah,
because it's like this. On days, I'm at a point now where on days I don't feel like doing stuff, I can still get up and do it, and I can do it well. Okay. But before that, days I didn't feel like doing stuff, wasn't shit getting done.
Yeah, you were tapped out. Yeah.
But I saw what my life was like during that. Two things. I saw what my life was like when things weren't getting done, and I also learned that successful people also didn't feel like doing stuff.
Yeah, that's very true.
Because I was thinking like, okay, these people are super successful because they have stuff that I don't. Like they wake up every day super motivated, just ready to go. Like they're just born with that, and I don't have that, so I can't be successful. And then I was watching a Joe Rogan podcast. He was like, I never feel like working out. And I was like, what? What do you mean? He was like, I'm the most motivated, lazy person I know. Was his exact words. And I was like, okay, so this motherfucker has a podcast with like 1 billion people subscribe to it. And he considers himself lazy. He knows himself better than anybody. Yeah. He considers himself to be lazy and motivated. That means that there's been times where he's done things where he didn't feel like doing it. And I was like, that takes no talent
at all
to do. I was like, that there's no buy-in. Yeah. It's free. You can just do it. I don't feel like doing something, and then doing it anyways. Yep. And you might do it terribly. You might completely fuck it up. Yeah, but as you keep doing it, you get better at it. Absolutely. I didn't feel like going to this challenge today. I woke up, I was like, fuck. Then I was at the wrong place, and so I called. Right. I was like, dude, I have all these reasons to go home. I could just go home, sleep. Oh, I forgot. I could make excuses. There would be no paperwork. Right. I could have completely skipped out on it. But I went anyways. And I had the best time in the group that I went with. You know what I'm saying? And I wouldn't even say that I didn't feel like going because I'm on an upward spiral right now. But I was like, dude, I remember a point in time in my life, if I was like,
call a taxi home. Man.
You know what I'm saying? Just like, nah, man, I don't feel like running today, or I don't feel like taking a cold shower today. But I always make deals with myself without lying to well, I shouldn't say always. I've been trying to make deals with myself without lying to myself. If I go, okay, I didn't take a cold shower today. It means I got to take one first thing in the morning. And I'll have everything set up to where that is what I do. I have my clothes already out. My lunch is packed. Food is cooked. I have nothing else to do to say I started my day unless I take that shower. Because that's what I told myself. And when you do what you say that you're going to do, not only do you have like respect, like more respect for yourself, other people will have respect for you as well. And I think that works in tandem. They're like, man, like, yo, Pink said he's going to be here at 10. He's here at 9:30. You know, like people notice that.
They do.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they really do.
And I think that answers the question, like, what to do with that knowledge. Be better. Yeah. Learn your flaws, learn your faults, and go to war with them.
Yeah. And I'll also add, just be intentional. Like,
Yeah.
take the time to plan out what you want. Like, I have a 5-year plan. Year one's going kind of rough, right? But I'm still knocking out things that I need to get done in order to fulfill year one, to get to year 5. If people don't have, like, a roadmap, they don't know where they're going.
I agree with that.
Like, every night, right, I write down what I got to get done the next day. Because if I don't, I'm not going to do jack shit the next day. I'm not. So,
dude, dude, this journal right here, man.
Yeah.
I've again. It plays into like so many points that we already talked about, but you gotta go through what it's like to not do that. To go, dude, I can't. This ain't it.
Yeah,
because there'd be days where I crush the week. Friday comes around, I'm off. I'm like, what the fuck am I doing? I hadn't thought of it, and now, and now it's time to do stuff, and I'm like, well, I don't really feel like doing that.
Right, and it's Friday, everyone's out drinking,
And so then I'm like, all right, shit. Next thing you know, you're back on Tinder. You're back on Bumble. Heaven forbid, you're back on Pornhub. And then you're like, why? Like, but if you have a game plan the night before or 2 days before, you're locked in.
Yeah, you're good.
Like, oh, okay, I know I got to do this. Oh, okay, I know I got to. Oh, okay, I know. Like, the days that I have to go to work, I'm not questioning what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I know I have to go to work. So that I try to do the same thing when I'm off. And I threw in, because I learned this from Elliot Holst. He talks about having one thing a day that you look forward to. Because that will keep you on track with your schedule.
That's good. That's a good point.
But it's like a reward built into the system that you're trying to follow.
Interesting, yeah.
Which will make you want to follow the system more.
That's
so one of the things would be like, okay, going out with the friends to one of my favorite beef on a leaf places. I look forward to that because I'm with my bros. I'm gonna say with my host. I got homies and bros mixed up. I'm with my bros, and I'm eating one of my favorite foods. I want to do that, okay? But there's other things that you need to do before that. You got to get up, got to shower, got to gym, right? These things have to happen. But also, like, the system's not all bad.
Yeah.
You get to hang out with your friends.
Yeah,
You're eating good food, talking shit.
That's a very good point. Yeah, live life.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure. Live life.
And then, but because it's like, because if you don't do that, it's like, oh, I got 30 minutes. Well, I could go out and eat, but you know what I'm saying? Now you have that struggle. So even if you do go, you're not going to enjoy it as much as you would. And then if you don't go, you're going to beat yourself up. So now you're framing it to where it's like, you're damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Yeah.
But if you already build it into the schedule, it's like, I've been following the schedule the other 14 hours. Why would I not follow it on something I want to do? Like, it makes no sense. Unless it gets canceled, then it's like, oh, whatever.
Yeah.
But, you know what I'm saying? You're going in, to your point, with the intention of following the schedule. And you follow the schedule, you build something that you like, that you look forward to. Yeah. You can't lose.
I'm going to do that. I haven't thought about that.
That's what I'm telling you, bro. Like, it's crazy because, like, I was like, man, that's a good point. Because, and then once that frame is in your mind, that becomes your habit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That becomes your habit. Now, I wouldn't say, well, I'm going to say two things. I wouldn't say have the thing that you look forward to be first and always be, like, I don't want to say detrimental, but, like, not productive.
You're right.
Let's say. So I wouldn't say, like, get up, check Tinder for 30 minutes. It's like, okay, that's...
right, like, schedule that in. Yeah.
Right, that's the thing that you're looking forward to. Like, all right, cool, but it shouldn't be first. You know what I'm saying? Because now your brain is like, oh, I wonder if that girl takes me. Well, let me just take... Now you're starting off rough.
Distracted, yeah.
It should start off with the thing that you hate to do, that you absolutely do not want to do. Get up and go to the Smurf challenge.
So yeah, the gym, that cold shower, making beer.
Do that because now you're like, well, that sucked. Yeah. Or that wasn't so bad today. Or all right, I feel pretty good. You already got the hardest part out of the way. Yeah. It's just like when you work out and you're training back. You're not gonna do pull-ups, then rows, then curls, and then deadlift. Try to max out on deadlift. Right. You're gonna be gassed. Yeah. You might work at 60% of your max. Sure, that's a good workout if you're going for hypertrophy. But if you're like, dude, today's 1 rep max day, you're gonna do some warm-ups, and you're hitting the deadlift mat because that's the hardest thing that you have to get done for the day. Right. Get the hard shit out the way first, and then, you know, by the time you're winding down, getting ready to sleep for the next day to do the process over, you're like, yeah, man, I got to hang out with my bros, had some good food, I'm going to read this book, I'm going to do my nighttime routine. get up and go at it again tomorrow. It works.
Yeah.
Because it's like, I already did the hard part. The cold shower's over.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Now you got all the good stuff.
You know what I'm saying? I already beat the boss. I can't lose now with what's a minion?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so when you kind of break it down like that, I think that answers the questions. You know, I think that's what you do with the knowledge. And then I'll take it a step further. When you get good at that, you teach others.
Yep.
You teach others how to do it as well. Because what got me into the red pill was self-improvement. What kept me there was knowing that this saves men's lives.
Yeah.
That men kill themselves based off of some of the topics that are talked about in red pill spaces. In my entire life, I've had one friend kill himself. I had one friend kill himself, and I remember how awkward everything was with his family members after that. It's like no one talked about it. No one said anything. If it was brought up, it was shunned. And it was like...
But it happened.
You know what I'm saying? It was weird. And we were young, man. I was like 13, 14. No. I was older because I was driving. But I was in my teens, and I was like, dude, this is weird. Why is nobody, like...
Yeah, that's rough.
His room has all his stuff in it. Like, why are we... You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was weird. And I think that's what's happening now. It's like men are killing themselves by the droves for a multitude of reasons. And people are just like, yeah, but Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And I'm like, that is important.
Right.
But what are we supposed to be doing about these human beings over here that are struggling?
Yeah.
Taking their own lives. Taking other people's lives and then taking their lives. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then you hear the narrative about, like, oh, toxic masculinity. It's like, this dude needs a hug.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's so many things. Like, the red pill is so much more than how to get laid.
I was going to say, it's extremely multifaceted. And I think if I could go back, right, and, like, reintroduce myself to the red pill, because I think that like, there's a point in time before I got married where, like, all I was worried about was, like, how do I get laid, right? Which I think every man goes through, and that's fine.
For sure.
That's fine.
Yeah.
But something clicked in my head where I was like, dang, this is, like, what I live for. I remember having a conversation with someone being like, yeah, dude, the only point of life is to get laid, right? That literally came out of my mouth.
All right, that's wild.
And what, like, shifted that mindset, right, was the whole like mental health journey, but realizing that, like, I still have these issues with mental health even though I'm getting the girls I want. Like, I still have these issues even though I'm getting what this red pill is supposed to get me. And that's when I realized maybe there's more to it than just getting laid. And that's when I discovered, you know, like, the different aspects of it.
Yeah. There's a book I'm gonna send you links to all of these once we're done. But there's a book by Aaron Cleary called The Menu, which breaks down everything that you can do other than girls. And I haven't read it. I do plan on reading it, but I think that would be beneficial to you, bro. I think you could get something from it. I think we all could.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? But just breaking down what you broke down.
Yeah.
Because, like, I used to think the same thing too. I'm like, if you're not getting girls, then, like, what are you doing?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you know what? I was just talking, ironically, to my ex, or one of my exes, about this the other day. I started having sex at 13. That is way too young to be having sex, right? Way too young.
Yeah, it is.
But everybody around me was like, yo, bro. And she was older, by the way. She was like, yo, bro, you know what I'm saying? Good job, da-da-da. So I'm like, all right, I guess this is
good.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I got the positive reinforcement. So I was like, okay, cool. Like, this is dope. But what ended up happening was, like, you start to have, like, this, like, hypersexuality, where it's like, oh, every girl I see, I need to have, and, like, you're like a zombie to it. Yeah. And then when you don't do it, you have the internet, you have porn where you can type in a 4'11" Asian chick with a black girl ass, and, like, it doesn't make any sense. Like, you're frying the circuits that will help you, like, connect with an actual woman.
I think if people, like, took a step back, and I mean this wholeheartedly, people took a step back and, like, thought about the things that you could, like, watch in porn, they will be appalled. Like,
yeah,
damn, like stepbrother, stepbro, stepsister getting it on, like that's gross. Like,
That's-
like in no world.
that is like the minimum level of gross.
Right.
There's
a whole lot more. But
and
like,
you're just
that's like the introduction to it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and that's another thing. So let's go into that. That's how it starts. It starts with like a little bit risky, but then you need more risky to like have the same results. And again, you're frying these circuits that are actually going to help you connect with a real life living, breathing woman. And then like you get in a situation where you can have sex with a woman. You've been watching so much porn. You're like, do this and do that. And I'll even go as far as to say, again, more positive reinforcement. When I was in England, I was with this girl. She was like, slap me, hit me, spit on me. And I was like, what the fuck? Like,
yeah, that's wild.
I was like, I had never did that before. You know what I mean? And so you do it, she likes it, I like it. And then at the end, it's like, okay, is this what I do now? You know what I mean?
Right.
You're like, is this how it goes?
Yeah.
And again, for a lot of modern women, they hold the keys to sexuality.
Right.
A lot of them are like that.
Yeah.
So if you're a man that doesn't have that part of himself under control, whether you get girls or not, you're still gonna lose. Because if you get girls, you're gonna try to have sex with all of them. You're gonna burn out all of your resources, all of your energy, all of your testosterone, all of your seed.
Right.
It's just gonna be going
Just
out of
giving
you
out free life energy.
and you're not gonna have anything left for yourself. Even
Yeah.
myself included. Like when I have a good rotation of chicks, I'm like, this month I'm not talking to any of you. I need to get my stuff back together because what ends up happening is you do all those things for all those women, and now you're not the man that they fell in love with, or you know what I mean.
And I think that's like, whether you have a rotation like yourself or married like myself or whatever the boyfriend girlfriend slaying thousands of girls, like whatever the case.
I'm
may.
gonna post this and my chick's gonna be like, "You have a rotation?" I'm gonna famoose it though. I'm gonna famoose it.
But like the bottom line is, right, no matter where you are in the levels of like relationships, there still has to be intention for yourself. And you still have to like focus on what you need to do as a man.
I like that.
And that's why, like, no matter where you are, if you've been married for 20 years, you know what I'm saying, if you've been divorced or if you're single or like whatever the case may be, like that woman still has to respect your time. You know what I'm saying? You have to respect your own time. Like that's the way it has to be. And like you were saying earlier, like any woman who truly loves you and respects you will give you that time automatically. So, so it's not an issue, but you have to like build yourself up to that level to be like, hey, like I deserve this.
And not only that, I 100% agree with it, but you also have to maintain or improve that as well. You know, you don't just go, okay, I'm at the finish line and then stop, because it's just a matter of time before the question. Like we know how women are. It's in them. It's in them to be like that. You know what I'm saying? So, like, there are times where like I'll tell a girl to call me at 10 and I don't answer. There are times.
Right.
And I'll be actually like asleep. But I know that I'm going to be asleep beforehand, so I'm like, call me at 10, and then I'll leave my phone on. And she's like, I called you, you didn't answer. I'm like, something came up, whatever. We can get into game
a different time.
Yeah, I'm about to say I gotta eat soon as well. But yeah, man, it all goes into improve, get better, make more money. And then once you get to that status, you teach other men how to do it as well, to stop them from ending themselves, man.
Yeah, I like that.
And I think that's what it is for me. You know what I mean? I think that's what it is for me, and I think that even in the military as well, it's not like that goes away in the military. You know what I'm saying? I've met people, man, that down bad going through it, and they're like, dude, fuck this, I'm done. And I'm like, dude, that is not the answer.
Yeah, it's not.
A permanent solution to a temporary problem is never the right thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, if your car needs a tire change, you don't buy a new car. Like, you just get the tires fixed. You know what I mean? So, I think that's what it is for me, and I think that's why I do it, and that's why I'm in it. You know, would I like to make money with this YouTube stuff? Sure. But if I can just talk to somebody and be like, dude, look, you know what I'm saying? This and that, this is why she did that, da-da-da, boom, boom, boom. Because here's the thing, I'll say this and we can close. I think a lot of the emotional responses, at least for me in my life, come from when I truly don't understand something. When I truly am like, okay, why did this happen? What was the purpose of this? What is this rooted in?
Yeah.
When I truly don't understand the logic behind something, the only thing that's left is emotions. Example, with my ex, She did something that was unforgivable. That should have been unforgivable. Mm-hmm. And when I asked her about why she did it, she just cried. She just cried. She just cried. That's all she did. Right. Was cry. I was like, I understand what you're saying, but why did you do it? And she was like, well, because, I felt like da-da-da-da. I was like, I understand that. Why did you break one of the rules that we had, though? Why?
Yeah.
What is, why did you do that? And she couldn't give me an answer. I know now why, because, and then if I would have known that knowledge then, I would have.
You would have moved differently anyway.
Oh, dude, it would have been bad. Oh, what?
It would have, yeah.
It would have been bad. And not even like physically or anything. I'd just been like, okay. She'd have been like, he doesn't care?
Yeah.
He doesn't care? I'd be like, okay, fine. And she'd have been like, are we good? I'm like, yeah, sure. I would have completely just whatevered it. And then bro, oh man, we can talk about game when this is over. I'll tell you how I'll tell you how I would have finessed that one. That shit was about to be like it would have dude. Oh, it would have been crazy. But all of that to say, I think this was a really good podcast, man.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I really did.
Yeah, I think this was a good episode. I'm gonna listen back to it. But in closing, man, you got anything you want to say? Any people you want to shout out? Anything like that?
Yeah, honestly, so the last thing I was thinking of, as you were talking, just to close out, is just love yourself, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's.
I like that. Yeah.
It's really easy to be hyper focused with certain aspects of life and to lose sight of the reason why you're doing it is to make your life better. Yeah. Just so you can live a better life. You can live a more fulfilled life. And you only do that if you love yourself, right? If you didn't love yourself, you wouldn't do any of the stuff. So
100% agree.
Yeah.
So with that, we're going to close. Love yourself. Take the red pill. This has been What Suits You. I will see you guys in the next one. Peace. 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 Peace.